You know what, Brent? There's been some complaints.
Again?
Well, there's always complaints, isn't there?
Like new ones?
Different ones, yeah.
Okay.
And to be quite honest with you, I think they might have a point, might be quite a valid point. And what it is some people have been moaning that because I'm now using very expensive Hasselblad gear, it kind of puts my channel a bit out of reach. People can't really identify and connect with me because it's out of reach for most people, which it really is, really.
That's fair.
And it's taken me years to get to this point. Most of my career I've been shooting with affordable to sort of medium level stuff. So it's nice to finally reach this point. But I get what you're saying. It does kind of put a barrier between me and my audience because you might never get your hands on lovely gadgets like this. So that is why when OM Systems got in touch and said, do you want to try out our OM1 Mk2? I thought, you know, that's a perfect opportunity to see what a more affordable camera system can do. See if it's any good.
And I'm keen to see if the technology's improved a lot on these Micro Four Thirds, yeah.
Micro Four Thirds.
Yeah, I thought they'd gone the way to the dodo, but I don't know, they're still pumping them out. I bet the technology's caught up.
It might be good. We'll give it a try. You know, I'll try it. We'll give it a chance.
And where better to put it to the test than the Canadian Rockies?
So what I've got here is the OM system. I think it's formerly Olympus. OM1 Mk2. And it's a Micro Four Thirds camera. I think this retails for about just under 3,000 Canadian dollars. Now, this is not a camera review. I don't do reviews. If you want that, go and watch Gerald Undone or Chris and Jordan from Petapixel. They'll do a much better job than I will. Oh, that's quite a nice shot, is that? But really, the purpose of this video is just for me to see, for my own interests, to see if a Micro Four Thirds camera is up there amongst the pro equipment that I'm used to. I would say it's about a quarter of the price of the camera that I'm used to shooting with. But I feel confident, having gone through this and looking at all of the features, I feel quite confident that it can probably come up with the goods.
You can barely see the mountain. Let's go to that other spot.
What other spot?
The pond, like 20 minutes up the road.
Oh no, come on, I think something's going to happen here. Rain's coming in, we might get rainbows and all that. Come on.
A pretty low chance. But...
just give it 10 minutes.
All right, we'll see. I don't really think it's going to happen.
Do you want to wager on it?
What's the wager?
Loser buys dinner.
Easy.
Not Subway, the keg.
Fancy.
Ooh, look at that light now. I think it's happening, mate. I think it's happening. Look at that.
Oh, it was happening all right. I could almost taste that juicy T-bone steak, Brent.
So Brent and I have come on a whim to Vermilion Lakes, and we really didn't have much hope. And in fact, we were just about to leave. But I'm the one who said, something's going to happen. Let's stay. Isn't that right, Brent?
I don't want to admit it, but that's exactly what you said.
That is exactly what I said. Something's going to happen, and it is happening. I mean, look at that. How often do you get that over a scene like this? I've been here. Oh, it's a double rainbow. I've been here. I can't even count how many times I've been here, and it's absolutely magic. But can the OM Systems OM1 Mk2 capture the magic? We shall see.
You'll never believe it, but this is a JPEG, edited of course. I thought I'd switched the camera to shoot in RAW, but somehow I'd messed it up. But with light like this, it's difficult to take a crap shot. Brent was having the time of his life, blissfully unaware just how expensive dinner at the keg was going to be.
So the rain has come and gone. We have had photogasmic rainbows, and then it completely socked in with rain. But I had a feeling that we would get more dynamic light after that. Perhaps not rainbows, but something special. And sure enough, right now, let me just show you this business. This is absolutely, just look at that. Absolutely fantastic. There's some really strange cloud formations blowing off the top of Mount Rundle, and the sun is kind of shearing off of the edge, creating these diagonal rays. It is just, it's so beautiful it looks fake, I'll be honest with you. But the OM1 Mk2 seems to be doing a pretty good job. I won't know really until I play with the raw files. I won't know what it's capable of. But I'm shooting so many frames because the light's just rapidly changing. It's just, oh, it's going from photogasm to photogasm. So dramatic. And this is the first time I've used this camera. It's its first shoot out, so what a brilliant way to test its limitations, its strengths and its weaknesses.
With images like these, the OM1 Mk2 was really starting to grow on me. Perhaps Micro Four Thirds is a viable option.
What were you doing with your hands there? Just do that again. Because it looked like you were giving two very free handies. Could you just do it again? Yeah, I don't know what to say about the hand movements there. It looked like you had some practice. Anyway, what do you think to the light here?
It's pretty damn good. Yeah, and the reflections come back.
We've been shooting together, what, 4 days now?
Yeah.
Like non-stop for 4 days. This is the best light we've seen. In fact, that's the best light I've seen in the Rockies in years. Look at that light ray there. Why is that doing that? Where's that coming from? The sun's behind us. I don't know what's going on. It's just the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Photogasms. How's your Fujifilm doing?
It's fine. It looks like a haggard piece of crap right now, but it still is delivering the goods. So
He dropped it the other day. We won't talk about it, but it was a tense moment.
I think I just stopped breathing there just thinking about it.
That's the first time I've ever heard you do like a rage scream.
I needed to get it out. That was
No, I'm talking about the rage scream.
What are you talking about?
Look at this business. Look at what we're dealing with here. It's unbearable, it really is.
One of the benefits of Micro Four Thirds is the reach. This lens was about to give me the most reach I'd ever had.
So is this your discount camera here? How much is this worth?
Well, the camera costs about 2,800 Canadian, so it's quite affordable, I think, for pro level gear.
What about the bazooka?
Well, don't worry about the bazooka. I mean, that's, you know.
No, how much is it worth though?
Well, I checked on the website. It was about $10,000.
What was that?
10,000 Canadian dollars.
10,000 bucks.
10 grand.
Holy moly!
I've pretty much contradicted the whole point of this video, which was to showcase a much more affordable, sort of not quite entry level, but affordable pro level camera, which I honestly believe that the camera is. The lens, however,
it is like the Hubble Space Telescope here. Look at this thing.
Well, it's a 150 to 400.
So what's that on like Micro Four Thirds crop mode?
I don't know. It goes up to like 800 millimeter or something.
Whoa.
It's just pretty impressive. So I'm going to take a few shots of. If you look at Mount Rundle there, I love the way that the clouds are just burning off the top of that. So I've zoomed right in. I'll show you the shot actually. I've zoomed right in. Let me just refocus. I've zoomed right into the top of Rundle.
Holy moly! Kablam!
Nice. That's a good one, that I like that. And I'm shooting at f11. We've got a 12-second timer, so we'll see if that is sharp. For that kind of money, it better cut my head off. And if it's sharp, here's the shot.
As you can see, this lens produces ridiculously sharp images, but keep watching because the lens also has a built-in 1.25 teleconverter to effectively give me 1000 millimeters.
It's got more knobs and dials you know what to do with here.
I got sick of Brent fondling my length, so it was time to switch to the super wide for sunset.
Okay, so the sun is pretty much setting right now, and there's some absolutely gorgeous colors in the sky, some lovely texture and patterns. Now, because I've got this 7 to 14, it's still a little bit super wide. It's a little bit too wide. I wish I could get in a little bit tighter, but I'll have to do a crop. But I'll show you the back of the camera and try and explain what I mean. So what I'm after here really is just this little section in the middle. It's probably going to be a 16 by 9 or 16 to 9. I don't really need all of this. I don't need Mount Sulphur there. It's just this little section, but this is as tight as I can get with this super wide lens. But I think it's going to work, and if it does, here's the shot.
20 megapixels to work with. I wasn't keen about cropping the image, but I really like how this turned out.
Now, you know when you see those beautiful, tranquil, almost zen-like shots of the trees in autumn, the reality is that it's usually always next to a road, sometimes a very noisy, busy highway. But Brent has managed to spot one of the only groupings of colourful trees. It's actually a late autumn this year, and it's actually quite nice. So we're going to frame up a shot, of course it's a pano for the course, and see if we can shoot a nice pano, maybe even a vertorama of these gorgeous yellow trees.
So Brent rigged up his camera and prepared to enter the bush, but I wasn't convinced that there was even a shot.
The thing is, Brent, I think the light's a little bit harsh, but you go ahead, right? See if you can get a shot, and I'll just play with this lens and see if I can get a shot of you getting a shot. See what the autofocus is like, see how sharp it is.
The big bazooka.
See, yeah, I want to test it at 400, see what the bokeh is like, so I'll get some shots of you, which, if they're good, I'll sell them to you for pretty cheap.
Oh, thanks, man.
Oh, you know.
You're a good friend.
Yeah, I am, aren't I?
So Brent assumed the position, and I had a little bit of fun with the OM1 Mk2. Now, I am not a portrait photographer, but even I can see that that is a gorgeous background blur, while Brent remains tack sharp.
Any good?
Well, it's got to be worth every penny of that $10,000, this lens, because I even managed to make you look good there, Brent.
Oh, wow.
Tell you what, though, I was quite impressed because it's such a bazooka, and can you just hold that? So it's got this switch here, and that's set to 1 times, but if I want to just extend it a bit to 1.25, just gives me a little bit more reach, and you can lock it, then you can just get that a little bit closer.
So does that bring it to 1,000 then?
I don't know, I'm just too stupid to do the maths. You tell me, post a comment, but it's long, that's all I could tell you. But I had it at the full extension, and I was wobbling around like this, so when you're looking through the EVF and you're trying to take the shot, it's like it's got the shakes. But that shot is super sharp because it's 1250th of a second shutter speed, and I was shooting with 2500th of a second earlier because it's so bright. So that's why it's so sharp. But it's quite a nice bokeh, isn't it?
Ooh, I do look good.
I've barely done any editing to this image. There's no photoshopping, just the basic Adobe Camera Raw tweaks for things like highlights and shadows.
That'll be $20, please.
Oh, shit.
Now, because I'm trying to sell the camper, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to get a nice shot of it for the listing with this. I might as well. I mean, it's $10,000 lens. Might as well get a nice shot of the camper. I'll just frame this up. Oh, yeah, that's quite nice, is that? A couple more, make a little adjustment here. Brent, get it. Oh, you're going to flash me, are you? Right, I'll get a shot of that then. See how you like that. Yeah, you're on the YouTubes now, mate. Dirty bugger.
Now, there was one specific feature of the OM1 Mk2 camera that I was very keen to test out.
One really cool feature that I love about this camera system is that it has this live ND shooting, where you can basically add a fake ND filter to force a long exposure. And right now, I've got these crashing waves that are coming up on this lakeshore, and I think I'd like to experiment with a really long neutral density filter to make a unnecessarily long exposure. I don't usually like those shots, but what I might enjoy is like a half-second exposure where there's just a little bit of motion blur, but you can still see that there are waves crashing. So I'm going to experiment with the live ND shooting and see if I can get a nice artistic looking shot with these quite challenging conditions. All right, so the first one I'm going to try is an extreme one. This is the, let's have a look. This is set to the ND 128 at 7 stops. Okay, so the sun's gone behind a cloud now, that's just about right. Let's try this long exposure and see what this gives me. And I think it's giving me a 1 second exposure. That's kind of freaky and weird looking. Let me try something a little bit more tame. So let's go for, I'm going to try an ND8 and see if I can get like a half-second shutter speed. Maybe 1/6 of a second, that might look good. Oh, that's way better. Yeah, that's more natural looking. Yeah, now because the sun is a little bit bright right now, I think I need a darker ND than that. So let's try an ND32 and see if that will get me the shutter speed that I want. Let's try 1/4 of a second. Oh, there's some gorgeous light on the mountains there. Look at that. Absolutely magnifique. Okay, let me see how that turned out. Oh, now that is about perfect. That's great. Except I've got some water on my lens. Let me get my lens cloth out and fix that. Now, I quite like this 7 to 14mm lens, but it's very bulbous. So, because that piece of glass is so bulbous, you have to constantly clean it because it's exposed to the elements and it gets a lot of rain droplets. Oh, look at that lovely splash of light there. So let's just get that shot. So what I love about this is I don't have to faff about with filters, like pieces of glass on the lens. I mean, I've got nothing against filters. I enjoy using filters, but half the time my camera bag is way on the other side of the forest or the beach, and I don't carry my filters around like a proper landscape photographer.
Get them filters on your waist. You might look like a disgrace. Tell the world that you are great, cause you wear an ND8.
I just forget to take them with me. So having a built-in ND, I feel like every camera manufacturer should be doing this. I don't know why they're not doing it. Maybe it's a dynamic range thing. I don't know, but to me, it's a no-brainer. What a powerful tool for creativity that is. Anyway, if this shot turns out to be any good, here's a shot.
Seriously now, why can't all camera manufacturers include built-in ND filters? If you know the answer, post a comment below.
So what are my thoughts about this camera and Micro Four Thirds in general? Well, I only really got to scratch the surface with this in the short time that I had. It does have a lot more features than I had time to get into. And one of the things that appeals to me as a landscape photographer is that this OM1 Mk2 is IP53 certified, which is just some sort of technical measurement to prove that it's very dust and splash proof. So I can't verify that because, like I said, I only took it out for a short while, but I'd like to have tortured it like I usually do most of my equipment, and then I could prove that it really is that weatherproof. But it's interesting that you don't see that many other camera manufacturers offering that kind of assurance. So I was quite impressed with that. I think the thing that I'm most impressed with this system in general is the combination of this camera with that 150 to 400mm lens. Like I said earlier in the video, that gave me almost 1000mm equivalent to full frame, which is reach that I could never dream of. That's just unbelievable. So I reckon if I was primarily a wildlife photographer, that combo would probably be the perfect solution. Now you might be thinking, well, that's all well and good, Gavin, but this is only 20 megapixels. Surely that's not enough for what you do. Well, I've made a new video called Do Megapixels Matter over on my Fototripper studio channel, where I'll show you up close and personal the raw files from this very shoot that you just saw in this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I actually had a lot of fun shooting it, and if you did, give it the old thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to tickle my bell.